Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows, and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore.
In this heart lies for you a lark born only for you, who sings only to you, my love, my love, my love. I am waiting for you, for only you adore you. My heart is for you, my love, my love, my love. This is my grief for you, for only the loss of you, the hurting of you. My love, my love, my love.
There are rays on the weather. Soon these tears will have cried. All loneliness has died. My love, my love, my love. I will have you with me. In my arms only, for you are only. My love, my love, my love. My love, my love, my love.
I think that was so beautiful. I don't know about you, but I feel completely thrown. I feel like I don't know what's next. Thank you for the music. I thank you for this, but I really want to say, like, the music this year has just been, I have no words. I have no words. I just want to say that. Today is Memorial Sunday. This is our annual Sunday where we talk openly and honestly about grief. And with everything that's happening in the world, everything before us, it feels like the right day to do that. And so, let us begin. It is good to be together on a sunny, warm day. It's good to be together on a cold, rainy day. It's good to take the time to remember who we are, to feel our bodies in a space, to share with other bodies, to see the beautiful in each other's faces as they see the beautiful in ours. It's good to have a place to bring our whole selves, including our broken hearts and our wandering minds, knowing all of who we are will be held in gentleness. It's good to be together on this Memorial Sunday, on this Sunday of the New York City Marathon, a marathon we have in some way been running for years and years. We are one people of one shared faith. And on this day, on this particular day, it is so good to be together. Please rise in body or spirit. We're going to sing together, When I Am Frightened. The words are in your program.
light this chalice, the flame of our heritage. May it ignite hope in our lives, in the community, and in the world. Join me in reading our unison affirmation. Unto the Church Universal, which is the depository of all ancient wisdom and the school of all modern thought, which recognizes in all prophets a harmony, in all scriptures a unity, and through all dispensations a continuity, which abjures all that separates and divides and always magnifies humanity and peace, which seeks truth in freedom, justice in love, and individual discipline in social duty, and which shall make of all persons one beloved community, unto this church and unto all its members, known and unknown throughout the world, we pledge the allegiance of our hands and hearts. Friends, we greet each other on Sundays as part of our liturgy. We turn to our neighbor, whether they are strangers or old friends, and we welcome them to our shared space. It's our way of saying our spiritual path is communal, relational, and that we are in this together. Perhaps this is the Sunday when we really greet each other as warmly as possible. But we're not just friendly. This is how we ground ourselves in this space with each other. Please greet your neighbor warmly.
Hello. Greetings, neighbor. Greetings. There's like a lot of pictures in it.
Friends, can you find yourselves back to your seats unless you are going with the children upstairs to the loft? We are going to sing them out to their program.
Your
Beloveds, I feel like I hardly need to say it. We can feel it in the air. But sometimes speaking words into existence lessens their power over us. It is the last Sunday before the election. I know many of you have spent the last year phone banking and writing postcards, working with UU, the vote, and participating in the beautiful, broken democracy that we live in. Many of us have already voted. Some of us still need to. Others of us cannot or will not for many reasons. When we gather again together next Sunday, we might know the results, but we might not. This moment is one of uncertainty. This moment is one of anxiety and fear. Yet, this moment is also one of hope and possibility. Now, I won't be here next week. I'm traveling to one of our lay-led Unitarian Universalist fellowships in Western Montana to be with them as their guest minister for the weekend. And like many UU ministers, I have not yet written my sermon for next week, but I do have the title ready. Where do we go from here? No matter what this next week brings, we will need to ask that question and do our best to answer it. I know that here at Community, you will be having those same conversations, and I look forward to joining you when I return. But right now, in this moment, what we need most, I think, is a moment to be together, to breathe together. Can we do that? source of love, great mystery, we come together in pain and in healing, in hope and in despair, in sorrow and joy. We come together in this liminal space, this time of the year when the veil between the living and the dead grows thin, this time of the year in which our actions and our decisions come to fruition. In this moment, we carry with us the pain of our souls, the pain of loneliness, of loss, of fear and desperation. We carry it here, bringing our full selves, knowing that our pain is welcome here with us, knowing that together we can help each other bear our loads. As we gather round today, on this first Sunday in November, on this Memorial Sunday, on this Sunday before the election, we call on the presence that gathers with us, God, ancestors, the gentle breeze, our own breaths mingling together. No matter what happens tomorrow, no matter what happens the day after, we remain rooted in love and tethered to each other. We call on the blessings and wisdom of those who have left this world and fight ceaselessly for those who will inherit this world after us. And always we will sing. With thanks unto the end, we will sing. May it be so.
To love and to all friends, I will sing. To love and to all friends, I will sing. To love and to all friends, who pain and sorrows met, with thanks unto the end, I will sing, with thanks unto the end, I will sing.
Thank you. Thank you. On January 27th in the year 2000, a high school senior was driving his pickup truck home from a performance in the school play. He was 18 years old, alone in his vehicle, when he was broadsided and killed by another vehicle evading police in a high-speed chase. The young man's name was Manoa Hohola. Though it is generally my practice to change the names of my closest friends when I speak them from the pulpit to protect their privacy, I use Manoa's name because he was proud of his name. I did not meet Manoa in this life. After he died, the high school he attended installed a monument on campus in honor of the impact he left behind. A celebration of a young man who was of both Filipino and native Isletan heritage. He was remembered not simply for his brilliance, for the hope he inspired, but for the creativity he inspired in others. He was a saxophone player, and after his death, his instrument was donated to the school, held in his memory. In his obituary, Manoah's father said, "We had 18 wonderful years. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have learned everything we did about parenting. He did a lot for us, and we know he's still moving us spiritually." When I began attending this same high school in Albuquerque, like Manoah, I drove up from the south through the Isleta Pueblo. Now, by sophomore year in New Mexico, you can apply for an advanced driver's license. So from the time I was 15, every day I drove to school north through the Isleta Pueblo on the same roads where Manoah died, heading to the very same school. I am not of Isleta or Filipino heritage, but he and I were crafted by the same world. We wore similar clothing. I wore my hair in the same traditional style he did, style worn by my father today, a ponytail with tight hair ties, you can see. You know, I also played the saxophone, but when I started at the school, I played a student model from middle school, and it was tiny, and it didn't quite fit my fingers. The music teacher at the school happened to be the very same teacher who received Manoah's honorary diploma, given to him posthumously. He saw in me something similar to the spirit of Manoah and shared with me this blessed saxophone. Now, I was very excited. This, if you don't know instruments, was a Selmer Mark VI saxophone. Very nice instrument. Very, very, very classy. I was overjoyed, and you know, I was a passionate jazz musician at the time myself. I was excited to play an instrument with such a storied history. I often found myself, while I was learning, drawn to the edges of campus while I was a student, where the memorial for Manoah was built. Not many people ventured out beyond the classrooms to see the larger campus, but I found it soothing, grounding, to be among the sagebrush and salt cedar, looking up at the Manzano Mountains and Sandia Peak. I played the saxophone there too, practicing, motivated to learn by the support I felt from my teacher who shared with me this instrument. I remember one particular concert at the height of our jazz band. We were high school kids, don't get too excited, but we were playing very high quality music. We played a song, Cherokee by Charlie Parker. Anyone familiar with this? Very fast song, quick tempo, and it was intense. Charlie Parker is a famous sax player whose solo from that song is recorded in his fake book. I did my best to learn it note for note. I did all right. I wouldn't say I did it perfectly, but I was so proud. We performed really intensely, and I felt confident. But the next song after, I don't remember it as well. It was a ballad version of Swing Low. I played the lead line again, but at some point I lost track of what was happening. I blacked out. I forgot what was going on. I played some kind of a solo. I don't really remember what it was. I hope it sounded all right, but when I turned to look at my music teacher, he had gone ghost white. Didn't even look at me after the show or after the next day. I was very nervous. I thought, ooh, I must have really done it. But everyone else congratulated me on doing a good job, so I felt okay. It wasn't until the Monday after the concert that I understood why my music teacher looked at me so strangely. He had a 35mm camera that he used to take photos of the show, and he brought out a picture of me playing the solo from Sweet Low. He confessed that the reason he had been strange with me was because while I was playing, He couldn't explain it, but he saw Manoah with me, playing my fingers, playing the saxophone for me. He asked if it was possible that I felt something like that day, and I told him honestly, I disconnected. I lost track of what was happening. I blacked out. At that point, he took the photograph out of his pocket and showed it to me. And in the photograph, above and behind my head, was a light. Very clearly in the photograph, shining from behind me. I didn't see a person, just a glowing light, but I did know that Manoah was a few inches taller than me, and if he was reaching for the saxophone, he would have had to have been reaching from behind me. I don't know if it was a person or not, but whatever happened had my teacher crying over a photograph in front of me the day after my concert. I cannot explain what I saw in the photograph, but I do know that I truly felt controlled, overcome by a force outside of my control while playing an enchanted, storied saxophone. Now, I don't know if it gets much spookier than that, but I know it happened because I felt it. And without trying to explain it, I can say that I truly lived it. A little bit of backstory, you see. After the famous and well-storied Pueblo Revolt of 1680, the Franciscan missionaries in this Rio Grande area returned with a different model for colonization. Instead of choosing the route of domination and control, these Franciscan Catholics instead chose to integrate much of the pre-existing native spirituality of the local communities, joining them with Catholic practices and ideas. For many of us, myself included, this has meant that the cultural influences we draw on are messy, indistinct. Is Dia de los Muertos, the holiday from 2 days ago, actually a celebration with indigenous roots that predates Catholicism, or is it in fact a Catholic holiday and a Latino celebration of All Saints' Day? Well, I think actually the answer is a little bit of both. But what I can say is that living in the Rio Grande Valley, soaking in the enchanted sunshine of the world called Aztlán before European influence, there was another world there, both inside and beyond this one. In the Rio Grande Valley, as summer begins to end and autumn creeps through the cottonwood trees, the smell of roasting green chilies signals the time of year when the veil between this world and the next is the thinnest. Families all throughout the area build altars as the Day of the Dead gets closer. Every year around this time now, strange things begin to happen, things that I cannot explain with rational mind. Objects go missing, only to be found moments later in plain sight. Objects fall and break, yet did not appear to be disturbed by much of anything. These disturbances can be explained away, but perhaps not understood. Where I'm from, as winter approaches, the things that happen in this world that is beyond ours seep into this world. Now, I have real questions. Do my beliefs come from experience, or do my experiences come from my beliefs? I don't know. Do I think what I think because of where I'm from, or because of what I have seen? I'm not sure. But I do know that my experiences are the product of the life that I have been given. Whatever the reason, my experience of Manoah is not my only experience of this other world. I am made of these stories. When my next-door neighbor died and I was a small child, I can tell you the story of the hush that fell over the mesa. I witnessed a hush and felt an emptiness so deep, even the dogs of our neighborhood stopped barking and sat and listened to the desert silence. I've seen lights in empty, dark places that I couldn't explain. I have even eaten at a restaurant, the Luna Mansion, where above me someone sat in a rocking chair, heavy with the weight of an invisible person. I have met the white wolf, who invited me to meet him again in the other world. And if you would like to know the stories that I'm telling you, just ask. I'll tell them to you. In my family, when a butterfly comes to visit, we say, "Hi, Ruth." Before Manoah died, he wrote, "Identity may be more of a challenge to some people than others. Being of both Native American and Filipino descent, it is paramount that I understand and am exposed to the ideas and traditional beliefs of my cultures. At the same time, I must cope with contemporary mainstream culture. The problem is to maintain the integrity of each." Well, I don't know, friends. I don't think I can maintain so much integrity because those cultures are intertwined and mixed for me. But for us, to maintain our integrity in this world, while a world out there doesn't know anything about the other world, this is to be rooted in the reality beyond our own understanding. This world is made of stories. We're blessed to be among the stories told, and we are blessed to tell the stories that move us. Not so much to understand, but to rest and find peace in that which surpasses our understanding. I can say, in my experience, the dead are not under the earth.
For to ease my troubled mind, the rock cried out, no hiding place. For to ease my troubled mind. shall I go? Where shall I go? Where shall I go for to ease my troubled mind? And to the rock I hide my faith for to ease my rock cried out, no hiding.
One Sunday each year, we dedicate to those who've gone before us, the people we grieve. We remember the people we've lost recently and in the distant past, the people whose faces haunt us or comfort us, the people who taught us, who held us, who made us laugh, the people with whom we shared important parts of ourselves and our lives, friends, family, lovers, children, neighbors, colleagues, teachers, mentors, all the people who made us who we are, the people we want to talk with even decades after last hearing their voices. But on this Sunday, I thought, even as we hold those people and we grieve those lost faces, we are grieving, and maybe we are holding something other than or in addition to all those people. And as this election approaches, as we acknowledge that today is the last Sunday before whatever it is that's next. It is the last Sunday before a new world, which may look much like today's world, but we will have been changed, and it may look very different from today's world. That even, and especially on today, this day, before this election, that while we may grieve people, we also grieve a time that has passed. Often when we grieve individual loss, we grieve also a time we used to live in. I mean, maybe you miss a parent, but part of that missing is of being a child. Maybe you miss a best friend from college, but part of that missing is missing those years just before living in an adult world. Sometimes we miss a sibling, but also miss living in that house with them, on that street, in that neighborhood, playing with those children who are also gone, if only because they've grown up. We grieve people who have died, and sometimes we grieve people who are living, the end or altering of relationships. I know even just in this election, there have been a lot of altered relationships. But even without that, a parent might be alive, but in a diminished way. Maybe they're no longer able to join you for that new exhibit at the museum. Maybe they don't have the ability to hug you anymore. Maybe they no longer know who you are. They live, and we miss them terribly. There are many ways to grieve the living. A child might be alive but no longer in our lives. Living in a state of estrangement is a whole different kind of grief, a liminal space that hardly allows for acknowledgement of the relationship in public, sometimes calling forth shame, regret, anger, longing for another time, something far, far away. Some of us grieve relationships that haven't even happened, being single when you want to be paired, living isolated when you want to be connected with neighbors, being lonely when you wish for more friends, being childless when your heart breaks from longing for children you never had. We might grieve the loss of our own abilities, watching others run in a marathon when your body no longer has that endurance, or running up a flight of stairs without thinking about it, or carrying your groceries 20 blocks home without a second thought, when ice skating was fun and not frightening, when high heels were part of your wardrobe and canes were just for dress up. As we age, we grieve the bodies we used to have, the loss of mobility, the flexibility of youth, the carelessness with which we used to move through the world, a time that disappears slowly, leaving us surprised by our limitations. Grief is for people, and it's also for the passing of time. Change is loss. As much as I love change, and those who know me know I really love change. People on our staff joke often, probably as a reminder to me that I really am sort of unusually enchanted by things that change. And yet, with every change, there's a letting go. So my life for the first 30 years was filled with my mother's family. My grandmother was the matriarch. She had 2 sisters and a brother. They had spouses and children and grandchildren, all of my cousins. And with one exception, we lived in or around New York City until the older generation moved all into the same complex in West Palm Beach in Florida. We traveled as a group, all attending weddings, funerals, holidays, parties, bar mitzvahs, birthdays together. I have distinct memories of being very young in the backseat of my parents' Buick LeSabre. It was wide enough for 2 children to lie down under wool blankets on our way home from Passover Seders, the car moving forward steady and quiet, with street lamps lighting up the interior briefly and then going dark again in a rhythm that felt like a subtle drum beat moving us home. I could hear my parents talking quietly, recounting the day's conversations, and I felt safe. I felt loved and happy. I was tethered to the people in the car and the people that we just left. I knew where I belonged. And none of that is real anymore. It is a memory. That world has ended and new worlds have come and gone since then. People have died or aged such that they are only whispers of who they were. Families have moved, no longer centered on the Lower East Side. The circle got so wide, years passed without any connection made. I grieve those losses, both of the people who passed, but also of the many ways I experienced life for all those years. We grieve our own aging. We grieve the changes in our own lives, even when we were the ones who made them. I think for a lot of people, as this election inches closer to its end, we are experiencing anticipatory grief, in an acknowledgement that something is about to change. We don't know what. Could be safety. It could be the illusion of unity, normalcy. We remember the chaos. These last 4 years have served to heal. But we know the quiet is ending. There are jokes of civil war, and not everyone is joking. We don't know what's to come. I hear it in your voices. I hear it every Sunday as you come in. You let go, you hand off to me your anxiety as you come in the door. We are grieving now for what we fear is next, what we might have to leave behind. Loss is part of the cycle of life. Grief might just be a visitor when we are young, but through the aging process, it becomes a more reliable companion. This doesn't mean we're sad. It means we are aware. It means we have loved. It means we have lived fully. And Earth is our teacher. The turning of October to November is marked by the falling leaves. As I wrote this sermon, there was a steady rain of oak and maple leaves, brown and light, floating on the wind, dropping to the grass, now buried several inches beneath a blanket of leaves. And that rain will go on for days, moving every leaf from branch to forest floor until the trees are bare and ready for winter. It's a natural letting go, an illustration of time passing, of preparing for what's next. It's gorgeous, even as each leaf comes to its end, even as those leaves will never again be what they were, but will become protection for tiny bugs and frogs and sleeping snakes. And eventually, those leaves will decay and become the mulch that feeds the very trees that once fed them. The process is life-giving, even as it includes the cycle of death. Everything moves from one way of being to another, from one series of relationships to others. Earth is demonstrating and offering beauty in the process, the letting go, the becoming something new, the healing and hope built into the movement, from moving from what it was into what it will become, that life becomes and moves into death and back into life. The grieving makes us softer. Our own woundedness, our own brokenness, our own longing and emptiness and sadness become our teachers, providing the lesson of compassion. Once your heart breaks, you can spot the broken heart in another, in all the others. We start to see broken hearts everywhere. We are changed by our grieving just as much as we are changed by joy. They are partnership. They are in partnership, in companionship. They are moving with us through our lives with empathy and kindness. So I'm closing today with a poem. When someone has already said what you think needs to be said, it's best to step aside and let them speak. And so this is the whole poem that Janice Marie started our afternoon with, and it is called Kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things, feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend.
Will you please join me in honoring this sacred moment? You may bow your head, soften your gaze, or even close your eyes. However you choose to honor and acknowledge, this reverent moment is welcome here. Let us pray.
There are some things in this world that will never change. As long as we celebrate life, we must witness death. Just as so many generations have passed on before us, so must our generation one day join the community of ancestors. The world of the living is transient and ephemeral. All that is now will one day pass away and become that which once was. We turn our hearts and minds to that which is eternal, to that piece of time that exists in each moment, to bear the weight of our grief with us. Hold us in your wisdom, Spirit, and grant us an audience of your angels.
There are some things in this world that will never change. And yet, some things do. Today, we remember the way things were, and the people we knew and who are now gone. We have seen so much, done so much in this world worth remembering. We hold within us the stories of our grand adventures and the stories of adventurers past. We have seen indescribable beauty and witnessed miraculous things in this world. In gratitude for this holy life, we pause from the busyness of daily life and give of our most precious resource, time, to witness this majesty.
We know that life can deal us hardship, that grief can be ongoing, that we are all seeking healing and hope. We pause from the busyness of daily life to make room for those we remember and who rest as ancestors. We remember Susan Schroeb, William Amlung, Dorothy Marks, Dorothy Clark, Hope Johnson, George Marshall, George Martin, Novella Creighton Rosie, Donald Perkins, Gersel Henry, Tommy Clark, Thomas Clark, Joe and Helen Forrest, Hal and Carrie Forrest, Caroline Scher, Betty and Leo Schoenfeld, Colleen Squires, Beth Ann, and Zoe Kaplan.
Spirit of life, bless those gathered here, that we might know your peace. We, your people, are pilgrims in a weary world, and we grow fearful and anxious. We come to you unsettled, ungrounded, and impatient. As the world around us turns faster and faster without ceasing, remind us to pause, to feel. As the world around us grows ever more threatening and hostile, remind us that heaven is here on earth. Suffering does not last forever, and the dead are not under the earth.
We pause on this day from our concern for the present and future to remember those elders who have gone before us and have brought us to this moment, who have shaped us into who we have become. We remember those who await us in the host of heaven, who pray for us from beyond with all the angels and saints. Let us now hold a moment of silence for those unnamed whom we hold in our hearts.
Spirit of life, remind us to pause and breathe. Remind us to listen to our hearts, to each other, to you. For the dead are not under the earth, for it is the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
Fire symbolizes not only the mystery of life and its fragile power, but also the spirit of holiness that animates all that lives and breathes. We light candles as a response to the holiness we see in the world, or that we feel in ourselves. Whether we believe in a higher power or in the power of community, we light these candles to say, yes, I see mystery and majesty in this holy life.
If you have a concern or sorrow or hope you have brought with you today, please come forward and light a candle. May the fire we ignite spark for each of us the new world.
Spirit of life, we hold all of these people, all of these thoughts, all of these fears and worries and anxiety. We hold them close to our hearts, and we pray your blessing on each and every light ignited. Next Sunday, we will be here. Whatever happens in the course of this week, we will be here. On Wednesday, if you want to join with each other on Zoom, I will open up our main room at 7 o'clock. We can be together then. And next week's service, while, like Karishma, has not yet in any way been written, it is titled, We Are the Storm. Please, our chalice extinguishing is in your program. Let's say the words together. Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in faith, keep peace in our hearts, and make care for one another the watchword of our lives together. So our light goes out everywhere into the world. Our light goes out everywhere into the world. Healing and hope are needed. Let us go in peace to love and serve this world and one another. It was good to be with you.